one, and we're going.
Oh my god.
The crunch didn't happen for Vincent that time. Hello everybody, and welcome to episode 5 of The Final Rule. Can you guys believe it? We've actually made it 6 weeks in a row now, actually. That's
With having most of the group here, that's crazy.
I know, right?
Like,
Yeah, so if anybody's watching right now, you'll notice that a certain half-orc Brooke is not here right now. He will be joining in probably sometime later. Hopefully, we'll see. And also another thing that you'll notice is that we did not have a special guest this week. Stuff happened. Our special guest had to drop out at the last moment. But narratively, I think it's okay that we don't have somebody here other than the core group. But let me not delay the point any further. Let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. Hi, my name is Glenn Underwood, also known as Maytag. You can find me on Twitter at May_tagofficial, and I will be your dungeon master for this evening.
Hello, I am Chase Bernard, otherwise known as Cut to the Chase on most social media platforms such as Twitch. I play Dorvis, the half-orc wizard, and yeah.
all right, hi, my name's Justin. I have a Twitch that I'm just slightly still trying to figure it out at Drinks and Dice Gaming. I will be playing Kintorla, the Dragonborn Ranger.
I'm chewing food. Sorry. I'm Vincent. Every week I gotta eat food. I'm hungry. I'm Vincent. I'll be playing the role of Walter Tang, the Earth Genasi Druid.
And Brendan, of course, will be playing Brooke Pendleton the second whenever he comes in, the half-orc druid. So, how's everybody doing this week? I know I don't normally ask you guys this, but since I do want to sort of delay the point of us actually getting started until we know for sure whether or not Brendan's going to be joining us. Yeah, is everybody having a good week? I hope so.
Yeah, man.
My AC broke.
Oh.
I'm sitting right now with 2 fans blowing on me.
It's been really hot this week too.
My lukewarm water is condensating.
Your blurry lukewarm water.
I can unblur it real fast for you.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there.
Yeah.
Some clear water.
It's so is my beer was cold, so that's why it.
There you go.
But the lukewarm water is condensing. Oh no, it's my check wet.
Oh, good.
Oh, no.
Amazing. So let's talk about a couple of things before we get started. It was pointed out to me by a friend of mine who watches and listens to the podcast that the events that transpired at the end of episode 3, particularly the incident with Swift and the Beehive nightclub, was very similar to, thematically at least, to the events that happened at the Pulse nightclub in Orlando a few years back. And since it's around that time of its anniversary happened just last week, or just in the past week rather. So I did want to point out that I will be going back and adding a trigger warning in front of that video, so that people who listen in the future will know that there is some sort of themes of hate crimes and violence and stuff like that. That's because we improvise here. It's not always it doesn't always ring for us that that's what's happening until it's already happened. You know what I mean? Improv, sort of by its nature, we don't often consider the message that we're sending until after it's been sent. So we're going to be sort of proactive about it in the future, working to the height of our intelligence. But in the meantime, I will go back and add a trigger warning in the front of that video. And I wanted to say that if anybody out there has had any history experience with violence because of your identity, make sure you reach out to people in the appropriate channels. Make sure that you find resources, build a support network, and know that we here at The Final Rule we are, we do support you. We support you in what you do. We support you in however you move forward from the events that transpired, and anything that we can do moving forward in order to make this stream as accessible and friendly as possible. We want to make sure that we are that this is a place where you can safely watch and enjoy what it is that we do, and that's part of why we have the X card system set up. So I just wanted to sort of put that out there, make sure that I didn't, I would be remiss if I didn't say something about it once it was pointed out to me. So I just wanted to go ahead and address that now. But does anybody else here want to say anything about that, about the nature of improv, stuff like that? Because it is sort of a tricky situation.
I mean, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head, really.
Yeah, definitely.
The thing about improv is when we're in the middle of it, it's just kind of stream of consciousness. We're really focused on our characters and what we're doing, and sometimes it just kind of snowballs, and it's hard to really sometimes look at it from the bigger picture. Sometimes when we're really focusing on those relationships between each other, so sometimes it can get, we don't necessarily see that till afterwards, and that can be the tricky nature of improv.
Yeah. But thank you for everyone who's watching. Let's go ahead and talk about what it is that we actually do. What is the final rule? What makes us special? What makes us different from other podcasts that are, are actual play D&D podcasts? And that is sort of what we've been talking about. We are improv based, so I don't do any prep before or after any of our sessions at all. The story is made live while we are playing it. All of our characters came in as sort of mechanical shells that were pretty much randomly determined by a bunch of dice rolls. And all of our players have been making the characters as we go, forging the relationships between themselves, building the world around us, all live while we play. So that's why we call ourselves the Completely Improvised Dungeons & Dragons podcast. But Glenn, you may ask, person who doesn't actually exist, how on earth do you keep all of this straight, and what do you use to guide you while you're playing? Thank you for asking. The answer is we have a couple of rules that we follow, the rules of improv, as well as an extra rule that we have on top of that. The first rule of improv, of course, being yes and. If somebody says something is true about you or the world, it is more fun, more engaging, and easier to play off of if you say yes to whatever they say, and also add something on top of it. So, if I looked at Chase and said, hey, how's being a firefighter, Chase? Chase could say,
well, it certainly is nice. Just being a firefighter, putting out this fire that's right here.
So he has said yes, that he is a firefighter, and also added that there is a fire raging right next to us. That's an example of yes and. We also want to use our second rule, work to the height of your intelligence. So it's really easy whenever you're improvising to sort of go for the low-hanging fruit, cater to the lowest common denominator, and sort of make the poop and dick jokes, right? But once you go there, you don't really have anywhere else to go from there, and it sort of dies down the humor and the intelligence of what's happening. So rather than that, we want to subvert expectations, sort of play to heightened intelligences of our audience, and give them a lot to sort of chew on and receive from us. We want to give and receive gifts. So at any point in time, we can say something is true about the world or any of the other characters, then give that character or the world a gift, to which the person is then open to receiving that gift. If
Hey, the stream cut out.
The stream cut out?
I'm watching the stream on my laptop right now, and someone texted saying it cut out.
Okay.
Yeah, it stopped at minute 40, it says. Or my stream right here stopped.
Mine still says it's live, but...
It is? Sorry to interrupt all this.
No, it's okay.
Watching it saying that it was cut off.
Okay. Let's verify really quick that the stream's still going. I can edit this out in the podcast and in the video. Chase, you want to pull up the stream and make sure it's still live?
Yeah, I have it on my Twitch app, but I'll just double check on... it's still live.
Yeah,
okay,
refresh. Yeah, refresh yours, Vince, and see if it.
Yeah, I refreshed it, and it's playing it as a video right now, okay, now I'm playing it, now I'm playing an ad. But like, it was playing it as a video earlier, where it just was loading to the point where it, I don't know.
Wacky. Nah,
Yeah.
thanks for pointing it out though, because that could have been bad.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, once that refreshes, Vincent, let me know what it is. I'm also gonna Justin, can you look it up as well?
Yeah, mine's
Oh,
still not playing as a
Justin.
live stream.
I don't know if I can hear you. Can you hear Justin?
Okay. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to stop.
I muted myself. Sorry.
Okay. Someone let me know it's refreshed. We should be good now.
Yeah, it's good. Mine
Okay.
stayed live this whole time.
Okay. So,
Cool.
I'll just edit out all of that. In
Yeah,
post.
ooh, the wonders of live streaming.
Yeah, it's
Whoa,
all
with
fun.
probably-
So, where was I? Okay,
Live
cool.
entertainment.
Yeah, I
So
know,
yes,
right?
and fire next to. I was thinking about how the stream might have been out. That's what I was
Yeah, that's
focusing on.
We're gonna
I'm
go
not
back
a
to
smart.
give and receive gifts.
not-
Okay.
That's
So,
what it was.
okay, everyone, give me 3 seconds of silence, real quick. And the third rule, of course, is give and receive gifts. So, if you want to say something is true about a character or the world, you are going to give that gift to them, and then it's their job to sort of receive the gift and like acknowledge the fact that that is something that is now true. The fourth is going to be one that we sort of modify. In improv, it's no open-ended questions, so things like, "Hey, what are you doing?" or "Who are you?" Sort of puts the onus on the other person, your partner, to sort of come up with something brilliant, and we don't want to do that here. However, as part of D&D, it is necessary for you to ask me questions about the world that are open-ended. You know, can you describe what this place looks like? Can you is there something here that I can use? Stuff like that. So rather than saying no open-ended question, we're going to say provide detail when possible. So whenever you walk into a room, be like, yeah, I also noticed this barrel in the corner, you know, or whatever, you know, add something to the world so that it's not all on me to create or on the other players to sort of carry that burden, right? And finally, the final rule of improv is make everyone else look like a genius, right? Make everyone else look good. So it's really hard to get away from this feeling in improv that says like, oh, I have to be the funniest, coolest, most clever person in the room, right? That I have to make the audience laugh. I have to engage the audience. But rather than doing that, what we're going to do is we are going to make everyone else look like they're the most funny, clever person in the room by supporting them. And if we all do that for each other, then we will all in turn become the funniest, most clever person in the room, right? So, that's the 5 rules of improv. There is one other rule that we play with, and it, of course, is the final rule, which is rule 0. Whatever the DM says goes. So in order for this to have a sort of consistent continuity, I have been taking very, very thorough notes on everything that has happened so far, and I will be able to justify with the best of them. But there will be some times whenever I just have to say that can't be true, or that's not true, or this other thing, can we modify that to make it this true instead? So we all sort of agreed that in order to make the narrative make sense, that this is sort of a necessary evil. So that's our final rule. It's whatever the DM says go. Rule 0 of any tabletop RPG. So now that all of that's out of the way and we are sure that we are still live,
Yahoo!
let's go ahead and sort of recap where we left off, right? So we finally got some backstory on the characters, and we that was revealed through a psychoactive drug that you guys were forced to partake in order to enter into the dank, right? The new dank.
This is some serious peer pressure issues. This is probably
Yeah.
It was real peer pressure.
Peer pressure.
Absolutely.
Yes, I'll die.
And so you guys got to get really heavy and then express that heaviness through some amazing slam poetry. Our guest Mike Moss, of course, having what might be the best slam poem I've ever heard in my entire life. And we met a new potential bad guy in the form of Sistora, a lizard folk, a lizard folk poet of sorts, I guess is what we'll call him, who is currently chasing after the players who are running to get to the reservoir at the center of the new dank, which leads to the old sewers of who knows where. Right? That's more or less where we left off, correct?
Yeah,
I
deep in
think
the
so.
dank.
Deep in the dank.
Deep in the dank.
Episode 5, Deep in the Dank. Okay, so one more thing before we actually get started, or two more things before we actually get started. The first, of course, is consent role playing is something that's very important to me, as well as everyone else who is playing here in the final rule. So, in order to make sure that everyone who's watching and playing are having a good time and continues to have a good time, because at the end of the day, this is supposed to be fun, we have a system in place in order for us to make sure that if anything is particularly triggering or we are just uncomfortable to sort of listen to and not be entertained by, at any point in time, anybody in the chat can put a big X in the chat, and that lets me know that it's time to fade to black and move on from what we were doing. And otherwise, the players also have made X cards, which are big cards that have X's on them. So if I see that, I know.
It's my paycheck.
So if I see that, I know that it's time to move on from one of our players, or you can put an X above your chest like that. All of these are sort of things that we can look at and pay attention to as signals that, maybe what we're talking about is not what's necessary for the story to continue, right? And finally, before we get started, I always like to grab a suggestion from our audience. As far as improv goes, a suggestion is one word or idea that we pull from an audience member in order to sort of play around with as we move forward. So in the nature of improv, I will now ask for a suggestion from our audience. It's one word of anything. I'll be paying attention to our chat as we play. The first word that I see pop up in the chat will be our suggestion for the stream. But before that, or until then, rather, let's get started, shall we? So we're running away from Sistora rather, and we find ourselves sort of staggered, right? We know that the stage was close to where the reservoir was, but we're not entirely sure exactly which direction the reservoir is in. So it comes to a time whenever there's a split to the left and the right, and you can hear the sound of rushing water coming from one of those two split areas, right? But because of the way that the tunnels are set up, the echo is making it very hard to distinguish between the two which one is the correct way to go.
Okay. Could I possibly roll maybe like insight or something to maybe see what way the water's coming from?
So
Or would that
insight,
be...
I think insight wouldn't be the correct thing.
Oh no,
here.
insight's more people.
Right,
Yeah.
people in
Yeah.
the world that you understand, right?
Perception.
Maybe perception, investigation,
Perception.
maybe.
Nature, maybe.
Yeah.
Nature. Life.
What's better?
Life.
What's Could I go with Could I go with let's go with perception.
All right, roll perception for me.
I'm a roll also. For my
Yeah,
dice.
that is a 7.
A 7?
Oh,
Yeah.
hold on.
You have no idea. Swine, by the way. Swine is going to be our suggestion.
Oh no.
Well, hey, can I
Thank you
roll
so much,
perception?
Matitney, for the suggestion. Swine will be our suggestion.
I'll
So
roll for perception.
we'll say that Walter, you can roll for perception. Go ahead.
That's a that's a fat 8 right there. Okay, never
Yeah.
mind.
So yeah, neither of you know which direction to go in. It's really sort of a 50-50 shot at this point.
Guys, we gotta make a decision.
I'll go right. Let's go right. Let's go right. Let's go
Right, all right, we're going right.
We're going right. We're going right.
All right. So Ken, are you okay with going right?
Are you going right, Ken?
I was a little bit further in the back. I was like double checking to see, and I look and see them taking the right and the Y. I follow them, but after like we take several steps, I'm like, why am I following these two? That I'm the one that's supposed to be leading us here, and I just keep
Oh.
following.
Yeah. So
We probably
you
should
guys,
have asked Ken.
you guys keep running down that way. And let's find out. I'm gonna roll really quickly. We'll say.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys
Alright,
continue.
now
You guys
roll.
continue to run down the right path. And after about 30 seconds, like the sort of the hall starts to open up, and you start to feel a very damp needless to say, like a very dank sort of feel to the
Ah.
air.
Ooh.
And you hear the sound of rushing water grows louder and louder as the hallway opens up into a massive circular reservoir with multiple channels sort of coming in from all angles. It sort of looks like for every street, right? Just like the clock face of Causeway, for every street has a different channel which is feeding, which used to feed sewage into this giant reservoir, which now no water runs down.
Oh, hey, the
This
reservoir.
looks really great. This looks really pretty, guys. It's
Wow.
hit me again.
Behind you, the footsteps of who you assume to be Sistora is still massively on your tail.
All right, are you guys able to disguise yourselves
Uh,
with any?
Yes, I can disguise myself.
I could try.
I'm gonna do what's the thing that druids do where they can take the form of an animal?
Wild shape?
Wild
Oh.
shape. Yeah, I'm a wild shape.
Okay.
To a good dog.
Okay. Alright, so Walter is now a what kind of dog are you, Walter?
I'm probably like a black lab.
Okay.
Yeah, black lab, a black lab German Shepherd mix.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So you can this may not be exactly what you had in mind as far as like disguising yourself goes, but you can't tell that that's Walter. So
I kick a bunch of dirt on him so he looks like a dog that would live around here, and then I'm going to say a few arcane words and disguise myself as let's say what was the race most common down here? Was it just humans?
yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna disguise myself as a humanoid with using disguise self. Just about the same size as me. Actually, the exact same size as me. Wearing just we'll say just a really tattered like cloak type thing, and
Is he still wearing his tail?
like
Oh.
That actually
No.
is a good question. Do you take the tail off?
I the tail, you know, like those clothes hampers that pop open.
Yeah.
That's exactly how the tail is. It just compresses, and that's how it fit in my backpack.
Ah,
It
I
just
see.
compresses back up, and I put it in my backpack, and I become just a human,
Just a regular
tattered,
human.
missing a right eye, just like this grizzly looking beard, and just like the Steven Seagal kind of look, just
So
with one lip just up a little bit.
you're Sandor Clegane is what I'm hearing.
I don't know who that is, but sure.
The Hound from Game of
Yes,
Thrones.
reference.
Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, yep.
I've
Alright.
seen it.
There you
Yep.
go.
Okay.
Excellent. So now I have that visual image in my mind. So Ken, you
Alright.
know that like regardless of if you disguise yourself up here, the person you're looking for, if that they're going to be here, is going to be down that reservoir.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, Dorvis, what are you doing?
Okay. Is there vegetation? Is there? Any
There's
sort of-
moss. Yeah,
like-
there's some moss around.
All right, I get a fuck ton of moss, and I use my survival skills to turn into a big thing of moss.
Bark.
Just crouch.
Bark, bark, bark.
So I need to roll
Bark,
survival.
bark,
I don't know what you need to roll here, Dorvis. I'm gonna be completely honest with you.
I would say deception, but
That every single time. That's
Don't make me roll deception
Okay.
for the
Every time someone looks at you.
Here's
you
what I'll
gotta-
say. Here's what I'll
There's
say.
a fuck ton of moss. I will say that right now.
You can cover yourself in moss if you cast reduce on yourself.
Am I allowed to do that if that's not a prepared spell, or
So you did, yeah. If it's not,
if you
because we? Oh no, I do. I
yeah,
have it.
I was gonna say, I'm
yeah.
pretty sure you have it. I'm looking at your character sheet right now.
Yes, I didn't scroll. I'm still learning how this works, and I didn't have the page scrolled down. So yes, I will actually. I'm going to use reduce and hide in some moss.
Okay. So you turn from a medium
3 foot
creature
tall.
to a small creature. So small can be anywhere from like 1 foot to 3 foot. But I'll say there's enough moss around that you can gather really quickly and like crunch over to where like from like 1 foot you turn to like half a foot crunched over and like just cover like a ball of moss.
Amazing.
Torvis, if you want, like, just hide under my cloak.
It's Arf, fine, arf.
I've got it.
Arf. Bark.
All right. So and then Ken, you go to say there's one more person, right? That you need to ask if they're disguised, right? And,
yeah.
And as you turn to look for Brooke, he's not there. And like you think back in your mind, and whenever you're watching the two like run forward, you realize that Brooke was behind you, and may have accidentally taken the left path instead of the right path. So he might be still running around somewhere in the maze behind you.
Can I roll a perception check to see if I can like see any other animal around that might just be near us? Like a mouse, a cat?
Yeah, go ahead. Give me a perception check.
Oh, nice. I actually have my real life dice and dice tray today, so I'm finally prepared.
Nice.
I got it from Brendan's place. Let's see, perception. That's a 17.
A 17? All right. So let's find out. Yeah, no, there are no other animals around here. The only living thing around you is moss.
Okay.
Fantastic.
I find a small beetle. I pick it up. Brooke, is that you? Don't worry, I got you, man. And I'm just gonna carry Brooke with me.
Okay.
Oh no.
Sounds good. Yeah, but the footsteps are now approaching rapidly behind you. It's now or never to get away from these guys.
Arf.
Or
I thought we were hiding. Are we running?
Oh, there's probably nobody near us, is there?
No.
Okay. Yeah.
Like nobody near you, as in, what do you mean?
Like, are there
one
just
for us
random
to
people?
blend in.
No. They're like, you guys are alone in the
Blended.
reservoir.
Okay, we'll just dive in as these random people.
Wait, hold on. I'm still tiny.
We'll grab you,
Arf,
holding
arf.
Brooke in.
Arf. I'm gonna jump in.
All right. So everyone dives into the reservoir. I will say it is a good like 15 to 20 second free fall, where you fall for a maybe not 15 20 seconds. It feels like a long time. Like the reservoir itself is probably 30 feet, like with the water table, it's like 30 feet down from like the lip where you jump over. It used to be much higher whenever there was still actively water floating around in it, but most of like everything has settled down, and it's sort of been absorbed by the earth around it, to where it's just a flat water table about 20 to 30 feet down from where you're jumping.
Yeah.
So you fall for a little bit, and then you land with a mighty crash into the water. And you look as several figures from above peer over to look into the water to see where you guys went, if you guys dived in or if you took another path away.
Dive.
That's me swimming down
Gotcha.
as a dog.
My
So,
sound effect.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep swimming down.
I'm holding on for dear life as Kentorla has my life literally in his hands.
Oh, right. I'm swimming. Oh, I forgot I grabbed you. Yep.
I'm about to say, how long does it take for a beetle to drown?
I don't know, but every now and then I'm just blowing a little bit of air
that's a
into
good
my hand.
pass.
Resuscitate Brooke like
I'm trying. Probably
Right.
not Brooke, guys.
It's probably not
carrying a
Brooke.
Random beetle.
So, you guys, as you're swimming down toward an angle, and you hit one of the walls, like the outer walls of the reservoir. And it's getting to the point where, like, regardless of how good your constitution is, like, you need to come up for air, all of you.
Right now or at some point?
Like, right now.
Okay, I'm going back up.
Can I roll a perception check to see if I can still see the figures looking over the edge?
Yeah, go ahead.
That's a 20, not natural.
Okay, yeah, you look up, and if they were watching, then for some reason something compelled them to go away. There's nobody appearing over the edge anymore.
All right.
Okay,
I'm just
I keep going up. I'm I was
Yep, I'm gonna
already
swim up.
I was already going out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm holding on to Kentorla.
All right, so you guys all breach the surface. You crawl out onto the sort of edge, and it's sort of like um, it's almost like a natural cave down here. That's so like there's like the sort of hatchway into it, and then it bubbles out into like a big like oval shape where the water table rests, sort of near the bottom of it. But there are like gravelly shores sort of all around the water table itself that you can sort of make your way onto.
I'll do that.
All right.
I'll make my way that
I
way.
follow.
I follow.
Doggy paddling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys all make
Arf,
it to
arf.
the shore. You're coughing. You're spitting up water. You know that you sort of inhaled a little bit on the way down. And you know you guys finally have a break, a moment since the since even before the slam poetry, to actually just sit and breathe for a second. Nobody is following you. It's just you guys with the experience that you've had of the past, 24 or so hours, and you finally have a moment to talk to each other.
Hey guys, that was rough. I say still as a dog.
Yeah, I agree.
What?
I didn't think you all would see the part where I beat up a guy. Like that's not what I was thinking y'all would see.
Are you still trying to say this as a dog?
Just
No,
ruff, ruff, ruff.
Okay, I was gonna say.
no, I'm pretty sure I'm saying this right. Like
I don't. Can wild shape animals still speak?
No.
No, I'm about to say, I don't
You
think.
can't
I was
speak
about to say, I don't
wild
think
shape.
it's just Walter.
You're just barking.
Doesn't
It's
sound
just
like-
bar-
Like what?
But like
Walter,
I keep
you.
Walter, you need to not.
no.
You need to
So
change
what?
back. You're
Change
still a
back.
dog.
I don't want to change
Yo,
back yet.
hey,
Walter,
hey,
stop barking
hey,
at
stop
us.
growling. Stop
Hey,
growling,
hold
man.
on.
You're,
It's okay.
you're showing your teeth. Chill out.
Walter,
You're
Walter.
showing your teeth.
Oh,
I'm
I
not
should
gonna
probably
change back.
enlarge right now.
I'm not gonna change
I'm
back.
gonna go ahead and turn off my spell so I
Alright.
can actually normal sized.
Yeah, so in Kentorla, you sort of like you're holding onto this clump of moss, and suddenly like it starts. Dwarves just starts like appear in this underneath your cloak.
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry. It's all right.
All right, I go out of wild shape. I'm done. What I was trying to say was I didn't think y'all would see the part where I beat up a guy. That's like I'm not very proud of that moment in my life.
It's
I don't think we're proud of a lot of things we've done, really. To
Yeah.
be honest, we've all been kind of shitty.
Yeah. Yeah, we have.
Man, Brooke, you can change back, you know.
Brooke. Brooke, are you still all right? Brooke,
Wait, yeah, Brooke, are you
is the beetle moving?
No, the beetle's not moving.
No. Oh no.
The beetles, I read it up on beetles can't drown, but they would like suffocate under the water tension and the oxygen press up against them. So they could.
Brooke.
Just give him some room. Give him some room.
All right.
Just give him some room, all right?
You do know that if hit points reach, all right, you know roughly, Walter, you would know this. If like
Oh,
hit
yeah.
points reach 0 in wild shape, you revert back to your form.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah, if he's dead, we would see him as Brooke Pendleton
Brooke.
second.
Brooke.
He's
Hold on. Brooke, hold on.
Either he's well, if he was unconscious, he'd also go back. So I'm pretty sure. Hey, Ken, you can stop. Ken, you can stop.
What?
That's probably not Brooke.
Yeah, okay, now that you mention it, that's probably not Brooke.
You go out of wild shape immediately if you are unconscious. On a scale of 1 to 10, reach 0, or say if there is some scale to determine, I don't know, health. If you reach 0 on that scale, or you go out if you die. So, which is I guess -1. I don't know how that works right now, but like.
I mean, speaking metaphorically, of course.
Yeah, metaphorically, of course. If you reach, I guess, -1 on the scale of 1 to 10 in health.
0 life,
So-
just 0. I don't.
I guess.
Negative.
I don't know. I don't know why I thought it's a philosophy thing.
I mean, look,
going on. It's-
Walter's a druid. He knows what he's talking about. I mean,
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, if he's alive, you can hold on to him. But
So
like,
you say this isn't Brooke?
well, it's possible because if it's a dead bug, it's not Brooke. If it's a living bug, it still could be Brooke. Is it alive? I wanna proceed if it's alive.
Give me a survival check to know whether or not like, give me a nature check rather to know whether or not you know what a dead how to identify the life signs of a beetle that lives in the dank.
All right. Well, oh, that's an 8 right there.
You look at it and that's like, well, that appears to be a dead bug.
Well, it might be dead, guys. So it's still like, am I any more sure? No, I'm not any more sure. I might be less sure. I don't know. I think we should hold on to him still though, just in case. Like it's
Yeah, I mean, if that's Brooke, I really wouldn't want to leave him.
yeah.
All right,
But then I wonder why he's not changing. Why he's not changing back if it is him?
I mean, maybe he's just being really good at
I mean, like he could have been really scared of almost being
Yeah.
captured.
I
Wait,
mean,
who
yeah.
idea was it again to try to fight that guy? Was it Brooke or was that somebody else? Was that you, Ken?
I think that was you, Ken.
try to fight who?
The guy we ran
Oh.
away from.
Yeah, I tried to fight him. Yeah,
Okay, so well, let's just
Yeah, I
hold on.
thought-
Let's hold on to Beetle Brook until I guess
Beetlebrook.
All right.
something happens. Like I don't
Beetlebrook.
know.
All right, Beetlebrook.
Beetle Brook. Beetle
Cool.
Brook. Beetle Brook. Beetle Brook.
All right. Well,
Keep it real.
guys.
And he shows up.
Well, guys, we've learned a lot about each other in the past hour or so, and look, we've all done some things we aren't really proud of, but I mean, if it's all right with you guys, I'd like to stick with you guys and be better than what I was, if that makes sense. I mean, I know I personally probably don't have much longer left.
Dorvis, it's okay, man. I want to be better too, and I feel like I've done that with you guys as my friends. So let's keep doing this.
And hey, Walter, I'm sorry. Back at the inn, I was scared to leave. I was terrified, and I am a coward. I'm going to be honest. I really am. I ever since I did what I did, I can't look one way or the other without thinking that he's there watching me, and
Mhm.
I didn't want to get anyone else mixed into that, and I just felt like if we went down here and did that, it would. But I should have just said we were doing the right thing, and I should have just went along with it. We need to do this.
No, I've been kind of harsh too. I was a racist asshole before I really knew you guys, and I feel like I made a complete 180, become just kind of this vengeful freak, and I didn't like what I was becoming. So I'm gonna try to be a bit more chill, less racist. I've pushed a lot of that out of my system. Less revengeful freak. I still want to kill Swift, but I think I want to do that with less of like a maniacal madman. I mean, yeah, and I want to revive. I show the batteries. I want to revive Craig. So we'll find Gira somehow, some way. We're gonna make it right.
Yeah. Ken, you've been awfully silent there.
Yeah, I mean, as you guys said, we've done some things that none of us are very proud of. As I've already figured out, I'm not too talkative of a person, so I guess Dorvis and Brooke. I'm sorry for trying to sell you guys as slavery a couple days ago. Just a heads up though, my old boss might be coming for us in the next 24 hours.
Oh, don't worry. I'll probably be dead in the next 24 hours. So, I mean, doesn't really matter to me.
Well, if you'll be dead, I'll be dead because I try to keep you from dying, probably. So
Yeah, I
we'll both
guess-
be dead.
I guess that's the next step. Just try to keep all of us from not dying. How about that? Why don't we start with
Keep
that,
us from
guys?
not dying. I want to keep us from dying. Hold on. That's not.
Well, no. Oh wait.
I'd rather-
No. I didn't.
So while you
sorry.
guys are bumbling around, can you notice? Because you have, I believe, the best passive perception out of. No. Well, technically it's Brooke, but out of everyone here, Ken, you have the best passive perception right now. You notice that like, around the sort of general area, like as the sort of outskirts where like for dark vision, bright light becomes dim light. There are a bunch of like dark and like shadowy figures that are sort of like stepped out of the darkness and into sort of like the edges of dim vision. They're still keeping like a massive distance away from you guys, but they're definitely standing there, watching you guys sort of watch.
I do now have dark vision thanks to my gloom stalker.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Oh.
just a heads up.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure, except for Walter. I'm pretty sure Walter's the only one that doesn't have dark vision right now.
Yeah, I have dark vision.
Yeah.
Walter's is just whatever.
Yeah, it's pretty dark down here, guys.
But yeah, can you notice that like there are things watching you?
Well, yeah, Dorvis, I think first step probably is to try to keep each other alive. Trying to not to let each other die. Speaking of trying to not let each other die,
Yeah, what is it, Ken?
Yeah, I'd like to hear this.
I think there's humanoids maybe that are watching us from the darkness.
I immediately turn and like look.
The Dorvis making no.
I want to look. Also.
It's just like it's just a reflex. I don't even. I think. Wait, maybe as I'm like turning my head to
Yeah, so
look.
Dorvis making no effort to hide the fact that he's now turning to stare at these people. He makes a very like broad sweeping motion and like looks over and it's just like, yes, I see. There are people watching.
I'm gonna turn to look also, but I can't see them.
Yeah,
so
you can't see much here, Walter.
Yeah, I don't see anything. What are you talking about?
I turn my head back. Yeah, there's definitely people watching us.
Dark vision. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been too specialized with. Well, I'm guessing this is probably the Underdark that we're in at the moment, and
the Underdank, as you will.
Yeah, I was about to say,
yeah.
we are in the Underdank. That is what.
What's the Underdark? I never heard of this one. Get your nerd games out of here.
It's so less regional. This area probably the Underdank, I guess. Sorry, but.
All right, so.
Yeah, never been down here before. They are very dangerous. Very advanced humanoids down here, and very dangerous creatures. So.
Well,
I've heard of them.
Well, guys, what do we?
The swine folk.
The swine folk?
I've heard of them. The swine folk. Yes, heads like swine, bodies like humanoids.
Wait, I thought this was where the people of the old dank used to be. Are swine folk like another portion of that?
So at this point, one of the like shadowy figures is starting to like move away from the group and like approach you all. It doesn't like you don't hear footsteps, even though it is like a gravel beach that they're walking on. Like traditionally, you'd hear like the crunching of gravel underneath the footsteps of whoever it is that is approaching, but in this case, it is just silent gliding over the sort of stone beach.
Guys, we gotta watch that. I've been told a lot of racist shit, but like this is probably the most. It's not racist. It's just true. These guys are just ruthless, savage beings that will probably kill us, skin us, and use our bones for toothpicks later. So.
Well, let's go.
I want to get out of here.
Dorvis stands up from the sitting position.
Do you think the new dank turned the old dank into swine folk with their magic?
Dorvis sits back down a little bit.
Like, I mean, there's many different possibilities. I mean, maybe they're, are they? Is this an old tale that you know of? I mean, he's kind of approaching us now, so I guess we can't contemplate it too much now.
We should probably go.
Hi.
No, what?
No, don't say hi.
You just said
That's how they get you. That's how they get you.
The figure
alright.
stops and just like kind of like the sort of like shadowy cowl that's like obscuring the face, just sort of like glances around and like sort of like looks over and like looks back to the group and like looks back at you guys and just like you hear, "I."
Oh God,
Well,
guys, I didn't like that. He sounded like he was really close to me, but he's actually really far away. I don't like that.
That made me feel really. So I didn't know they could talk. All I've heard about swine folk is that they don't. This is.
They're
I'm
evolving.
Wait. Oh God. Oh no.
Or I'm just speculating. That may not even be entirely true. I don't know what swine people are until you just talked about it. So,
Did you say more than just hi?
You strike me, sir, as being very culturally insensitive.
Walter, you may want to
How did he know that? How did he know that?
keep it down. You're kind of just, new to the PC crowd. You might want
Yeah.
to just like
I'm
keep it on the DL.
I'm an X card myself. Let me get out. Let me just. As the swine person shows me an X card, I say, "Walter, stand back," and I like, all right, you gotta go.
Walter's X card.
So the figure's gonna like continue, like start like cautiously approaching the group again, and like as it gets closer to you, can you have you ever, okay, so this is a really weird, like a very specific phenomenon that hasn't happened to like a lot of people, but those who it has happened to is going to know exactly what I'm talking about. Have you ever been in the middle of a crowded place that you've never been before, like or like not around frequently, and you stop and you go, I know someone here, and you look around the crowd and you pick out somebody that you like used to go to school with, or like that you currently go to school with, like it's like the sensation of being in Disney World and just stopping and going, I went to school with you. Just somebody that's just like in the crowd, right? The law of large numbers just dictates that you're going to know somebody there. Ken, if you don't know what feeling I'm talking about, trust me, it's a thing. I like it's happened to me before.
No, I believe you.
Yeah, but Ken,
all the time.
you
Always happens to me.
That's yeah. Well, there you go, Vince. You are getting that feeling right now.
All right. As I kind of just look and just kind of catch that feeling, I kind of squint my eyes a little bit more, just kind of blinking a few times because this being able to see in the dark thing's still pretty new to me. Just seeing like in black and white, and gray tones, and I just kind of squint a few times, and I drop my disguised self and just keep looking intently.
And the moment you drop your disguised self, the figure stops approaching, and you just hear. And Dorvis and Walter, you don't hear this. Okay. This is being communicated through the whisper spell, so only the target hears it. And can you just hear, Kindorla, what brings you back to me? And like now that's being communicated through a whisper, like there's no mistaking it. This is one of your Johann Vanderschmidt.
Okay. Oh. Is that you, Johann? The contact of my old mentor.
Is that a whisper back? Because you can reply back whisper.
Just shouting.
Yeah, you can reply. You can reply to the whisper spell without having a whisper spell. You say that out loud?
No, I'm actually gonna just say it because I'm just gonna speak it out loud.
So
I say, your mentor's a swine person. What?
The figure's going to like.
Oh God, yeah.
It's almost like pulling back a cowl, but there's no like actual fabric for them to grasp. It is simply dissipating the sort of smoky, inky blackness around the face, and you see the visage of Johann Vanderschmidt. However, this is not the Johann that you remember. This is a Johann that is much paler, much more gaunt in the features. Not as gaunt as say like a lich would be or like an undead would be, necessarily, but definitely sharper angles on all of the bones and much paler.
Okay,
What?
maybe we kind of jumped the gun on the pig thing.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm getting used to the whole PC crowd still.
uh,
I swear they're out there, but maybe not in the Underdank.
Ken, what can you give me, since you're the character who would have the most sort of experience with Johann? What does Johann traditionally look like?
Johann is a very short. Um, he's a drow, but rather than the normal long hair of a drow, um, he has a very short, kind of military-esque haircut, to where it's pretty short on the top and then like just buzzed on the sides, or that's kind of how I remember him, and it's kind of now uh, sprawled out a little bit curly on the sides, as well as just a very patchy beard. Um, he very slender, um, not too tall though, probably about 5'6", but like slender as well. Um, so, God,
Oh my!
Just stop. Oh.
Ah! Ah!
so sorry that they can take it.
We're going to ignore the fact that that just happened and continue
Yeah,
forward with the
yeah.
description.
Anyways,
Yeah, yeah.
um, so very very slender, and rather than the jet black hair, has uh, gray gray hair, and it's not too long, just a little bit of a shaggy do.
All right. So Johann sort of like signals back to like a lot of the figures who then drop their sort of cowls as well, and you see a lot of people who are similarly pale in complexion, very gaunt and thin, and you realize that we're just going to establish at a meta level that whenever we say drow here, we are not referring to a specific race. We are instead referring to a people. So they are people who are exiled to the Underdank, and also it appears as though they clearly aren't all related, but there is something in similar, like something similar to every single one of them. So like you can't quite put your finger on it. It's almost like they're all cousins, but I mean logistically that just wouldn't make sense. But they're all looking, and you realize that several of them have crossbows pointed at the group. But the moment that Johann sort of like signals them down, all the crossbows like are pointed to the ground, and just like the bolts are removed and they're uncocked. As Johann sort of addresses the group at large, now no longer whispering, and he just simply says, "Who are these people, and why are you land of the exiled drow?"
Did we
I,
hear that or?
Yes.
Okay.
You
I,
guys look a lot alike. Wait, no,
Walter
I got.
X.
Walter.
Yeah, there it is. I found it. Walter found it. He's.
I know that I'm neither a friend nor acquaintance to you, Johann. Just a random um, underling that you had met, but uh, we're in need of your help, or the help that you were once able to give to myself and my mentor. We're here now, um, being pursued by the new dank, but they haven't. There seem to have been no signs that they ventured further than the banks of the reservoir.
Kindorla. Look around you at the empire that all of my work has built, and tell me what you see beyond rubble and ruin that could possibly help you in your endeavors.
Got a good point.
I see individuals with ancient intelligence and internal strength that a lot of those on the surface does not know these days.
You have an eye for the unseen, as you always had, even under your master. However, my strength is greatly diminished, and these people look to me as a leader. What would you request of me that I could possibly offer you?
We have angered a very powerful being called Swift. You may know of him as,
Do
I
not
presume,
speak that
As
name here.
can we spell it?
I understand. No, that's not even.
I know
try.
I can say it in Druid speak. I got.
Look, I don't want to say it personally. I don't, you know.
I mean, you can say it in Thieves' Cant. Like that's
still saying the name.
Wait, do I even know Thieves' Cant exists?
So the
figure.
figure is just gonna wave over you all, like as in like please be quiet, like, but more menacing than that.
Okay.
And he's going to look and say, whatever solitude, whatever sanctuary you thought you might find here from the troubles of the new dank in the world, will not find it.
Looking for
Just you
sanctuary.
leave.
We're not looking for sanctuary. We're looking for strength. Strength that can't be found by anybody but you, Johan.
See that though you have experienced much, Kintorla, you are still unwise to the ways of the world and the people who inhabit it. I will grant you shelter for 3 days. See if you can find what strength you believe to be here, but know that you will be sorely disappointed when your time here is up, after which you will be considered as the above-worlders are considered here, a prize to be gotten by our most skilled hunters in order to bring us supplies and meat to feed on. Do you understand me?
Ken, I don't like that. Did he just say that?
So
Yes, I understand.
No, I'm already being hunted once. I don't need to be
Wait.
hunted again.
I don't want to die yet. Like it's not so.
Wait, I'm being hunted twice.
I'm
Now
just
being
gonna
hunted
walk away
times.
from them
No.
just with a grin on my face.
Ken, don't walk away. Ken, don't walk away. I don't want to die. Ken, wait up.
All right.
So, Johan's going to sort of lead you through the pack of cloaked individuals, and as you sort of walk through, you see faces that are young, old, some children, women, men, people who appear to be somewhere in between, all starving, all sorrowful about their current existence, and many with just the hint of rage right behind the surface at looking at people who have really anything that they could want in comparison. But they're all listening to what Johan said, and it appears as though they will all honor his wishes for you.
Ken, I don't know what you expected to find down here. maybe this wasn't such a good idea.
This is the only place that Swift doesn't have eyes. You think this isn't a good idea?
All right, so he doesn't have
well-
eyes for 3 days. Then what happens? We go back out there. We just prolong our destruction if that's the
Yeah,
case.
exactly. That I mean,
There are other ways out of this city underneath it.
Okay, so we get out of the city using pathways here, and we go to a different town, somewhere else, different city, some kind of like we just leave.
we just came down here, and then we're just gonna go back up and leave. I mean, like,
I mean, I'm on board with leaving the city, like getting out of Causeway and going somewhere else and getting better and coming back and then killing Swift.
We did.
Well, excuse me. I apologize to everyone else.
Walter.
We did come down here looking for strength. I wouldn't mind fighting as champions.
Ken, that seems like really mean, considering we look pretty strong compared to the rest of these people.
Did they have that down here, like a gladiator thing?
What do you think the hunters are that he spoke of?
Oh, so they're not here.
If you-
They're not like hunting us. They're it's a different definition of hunter than what I was
No,
saying.
they will be hunting us.
Oh, they will.
Yes, they would be
And
hunting us.
what's
What kind of hunting? The hunting that I have done.
Oh, like
slavery.
murder.
Both.
Yes. Not as much slavery as just.
Who's Walter turns. Whose dog is barking? We're having a conversation
No,
here, all right?
Not slavery, just hunting.
Oh,
And this time not for capture. Yes.
for sport?
Yes. That's what he said. For
Oh, I
the
thought-
prized possessions that we are.
Oh, I guess that makes sense when you put it that way.
Well,
And they're not going to be weak as the commoners around here. They're going to be the ones that kill.
Ken, this isn't making me feel any better. If anything, this just means I have another thing on my list I have to worry about, Ken.
okay, Ken. What are we gonna? Hold on.
You
So
put
we're
us
like-
in another situation where we have to
Yeah.
worry about someone
Yeah.
following us and killing us. I've had enough anxiety as it is.
I mean, these ones are a bit more neutral than our previous, don't you?
They literally said they're going to hunt us after this. They're not neutral after that.
We do still have a 3-day period, and I mean, that's not like I knew exactly what we were getting into.
Ken, 3 days. So 3 days of neutrality, and then we're just fucked.
Even if we leave here, we're fucked, or if we stay here, we're fucked.
They may chase us out of the Underdank and into.
So then we prolong us being killed by New Dank, in lieu of being killed by later both New and Old Dank.
All right.
So double Dank.
I don't think you guys
That's-
understand
We're getting
the power of the new Dank.
we're gonna
No,
get
no,
double
Ken.
danked. We're gonna get double danked.
You're
all right?
gonna
This
get
is-
double danked. I couldn't say it better
I-
myself. Thank you,
I s-
Walter.
I still don't think you guys understand. He was able to suck the souls out of an entire gathering. All right.
Still, I mean, you said a bunch of hunters are gonna come after us. I mean, that's
Do we trick the hunters
That's
to also
definitely
hunt
not
SWIFT?
this-
Like,
So you guys, like, while you're having this conversation, you're being
Oh,
led
boy.
through like a couple of different caverns, and then eventually, like, whenever Vincent, every time that you make even the slightest reference towards Swift, like the entire party that's gathered around you just like turns to look at you, and like you see their eyes start to glow slightly red, and then they fade back down, and they like look back away, like, and especially whenever you imply, like, even though you're not outwardly saying it, that they can't spell. Like, it glows a little bit brighter than that.
Oh,
Uh,
Walter.
but eventually-
Walter takes out his X card, looks at it himself, and like, yep, there it still is. It's still there.
But you guys are
Walter
eventually
Travis-
led to this like big clearing and opening. There's like a cliff face leading to what used to be like a waterborne channel cavern that was cut out of stone, right? So everything's very smooth, and it looks like there's the makings of a makeshift town sort of in the center of it. It's nothing like if you've ever read Carl Salvatore's Underdark series with the Legend of Drizzt, the first like 3 books, Minso Baranzan, it's nothing like that. Like it's not like this beautiful like hewn from stone like magically built. It's like a ghetto that is built just so these people can survive down here. Just enough buildings to have for protection, just enough guard towers to stop whatever beasts are lurking down here. Just enough organization to have people not kill each other, you know. And Johan's going to motion out, and he's going to say, "This is the strength that you will find here, Kentorla. This is the strength we have to offer. Tell me, what do you see?"
Nice. I see one strong community that's almost been given up. I'm just gonna like look at him and not smirk, not anything, just look at him with actually a bit of like sorrow in my eyes.
In your 3 days here, all 3 of you, especially you, and he's going to stare down Walter. He's going to say, "I will make you understand exactly how we ended up where we are, so that when you are hunted down, you will know that you are helping a people survive that the world has forgotten."
Oh, that's not necessary. I really don't think we need any of that at
Come,
all.
you will stay with me tonight.
Oh, okay, great.
And he's going to lead you down the sort of a winding pathway to the down the cliff face, and he's going to bring you all to a sort of I guess it would be like it's the largest building, but not because of like a status by any means. It's the largest building because it is like there are more people living there, you know? Like it's large for utility, not large for um like status, you know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Uh and he's going to open the door and he's going to say, uh "My people will provide you somewhere to sleep. In the meantime, you are welcome to our shares of food if you can stomach it."
Did anyone bring any crackers?
I brought. Oh, they're crushed. I must have sat on them. They're kind of crummy right now.
You forget about it, Walter. It's fine.
Are you sure? Like they might.
No, no,
They're still. You can still see it's still closed and the salt's in it. Like it's not. Oh, it's all toward the bottom actually.
We may need to save it
Really,
over the course of these 3 days. Just don't worry about it right now.
It's.
All
All
right.
right. All right. Let's.
So, I'm going to give you each one thing that you can do before the. You guys aren't going to know the passage of time down here. You're not going to understand the way that it works, but know that these people have a system set up to where they can know what time it is. So we'll say
God.
until the evening of the first day rolls around, you guys each get one thing that you can do. Here in, we'll say that this sort of shanty that's set up is called. Let's see, what would be a good name for it? We'll call it the refuse.
Okay.
I think we may have lost Vincent
I
there.
think Vincent is frozen.
Vincent, if you can hear us, oh, there he is. Okay, he's back.
There he is.
Yeah, that was a beautiful face that was making.
Your face is amazing.
Okay, so we'll start with
What
you,
was I
Walter.
thinking about? What was I?
Walter, what was
The
your
city called again? I missed what the shanty was called. That's
the
what it's
the
about.
refuse?
The refuse. Okay.
So we'll start with you, Walter. What is your one activity that you do while you're here for this first day?
I think in the effort to still get a worldliness, Walter's gonna go and like walk around, see because he thought these were well, granted they are. Walter thinks they're going to kill him and scrap him anyway, but he didn't see that they would have a rich culture, from what I mean, as much as they can have in the Underdank. So he's going to walk around and see how these people work for what he can.
Yeah. So I'll say that you take a moment to walk around, but most people are going to just sort of like recognize you as an outsider and just like shun away from you. They don't look at you, they don't speak to you, they want nothing to do with you until after you're about to give up and just go back and just sit and stare at a wall until whatever happens next happens, until the 3 days are up. So a group of children who are playing with uh, a like woven like thatched ball. The ball rolls to your feet as they're playing with it, and they all sort of look at you. The first people to acknowledge your existence while you've been down here, waiting for you to toss the ball back.
Oh, I toss it back. I pick it up and I'm like, hey, yeah, I throw it back. I'm gonna roll for that. How good that throw is.
No, you can just toss it back. They're children. They don't care how good the
I
throw
toss
is.
it. I toss it back, and it's a very average toss. It's
All right.
kind of.
The children like scramble for the ball, and then they like look at each other and they look at you and then they roll the ball back to your feet.
Oh, I kick it.
The children all like start to smile, and then they like kick it back to you,
I'm kicking it back.
and then they start kicking it to each other, and soon enough you have it's about 4 children, and they all look malnourished, but they're all still trying their best to be kids and have fun despite the trying circumstances that they find themselves in. And you find yourself having Vincent, if a version of soccer existed in the world of Grindel, what would the name of that sport be?
I
My impulse says Grendel ball, but that doesn't seem right.
Grindel
I
ball
don't
it
know.
is.
Oh,
So,
okay. I was gonna say thatch ball, but
Yeah, that's also. Yeah.
no, it's Grindel ball though.
So,
That's what it is.
I mean,
you-
Grendel
you-
is founded on a lot of entertainment procedures, and Grendel ball being, the
Oh,
largest sport in
absolutely.
Grendel.
Absolutely,
it's-
yeah.
yeah, so you start playing a round of Grindel ball with them, and you find that though they don't exactly know the rules per se, if you had to guess, these children have never actually been anywhere but here, in the refuse. The world outside remaining a mystery to them, as they were probably born and raised here. You are able to sort of communicate with them in a way that shows them what the game is, how the game works, and you find yourself playing a although sloppy but a very fun game of Grindelball with these children. And people are noticing, and they stop to watch, and you even find a couple of them shooting smiles your way.
I'm glad they're okay with a 40-something-year-old Earth Genasi playing Grendel ball with children. Like it takes a really mature person to look through that and see, hey, that's okay because he's just a guy. Walter appreciates it.
It
Because-
sends molten lava into the crevices of your heart.
Walter feels good because he hasn't really had that chance. He always hated people, never really got a chance to play with people.
Yeah, so eventually the children, like, one of the mothers rushes out and like grabs one of the children by the wrist, like not in a rough way, but just in a like it's time to go. And the child like looks back at you, and he's holding onto the ball, and he looks at the mother and sort of like she like lets go, and he like brings the ball to you, and he like offers it to you, like, you can have this.
I take out my bag of my cracker crumbs. I say I kind of sat in it earlier, but like, I mean, I want to give you something if you're gonna give this to me. I wouldn't feel right.
Oh,
And the mother, the child looks at you and grabs the cracker and hands you the ball. And he's going to look at you, and he's going to do a gesture. So that's going to be one of the things that all of you notice, despite no matter what you do here, is that most of the communication done here is not spoken unless it absolutely needs to be. So the children are raised on a form of like sign language. So the child's going to look at you, and he's going to do a gesture that looks like a hand over the heart, and then a palm towards you. and then the child's going to run off to the mother, and the mother's going to look at you and very quickly do the same gesture and walk off with the child, and the rest of the children sort of disperse after that, leaving you with the ball.
All right. We'll hold on to this ball.
All right. Hey, Dorvis, what's your one thing that you do?
All right. So Dorvis realizes that his anxiety through everything has been going through the roof.
Yeah.
He wants to find the most relaxing place that he can find, even though he knows that that's probably not going to be the easiest thing. But
So you start to look at the outskirts of the refuge that are sort of built along the cliff wall. Because the refuge, though it is like a shanty, it is a very sprawling shanty. You know, that's why it's sort of, it is like one of the old ghettos. It's a lot of cramped buildings in a space that shouldn't really occupy that many people, but it does, and they're making it work, right? So you sort of find the outsides, and you find a small trickle of water. What probably the remnants, what used to be the stream that cut through this sort of cavern. And it's just a little trickle of water that's emptying into a small, clear, reflecting pool. And it's a place that you can sit and sort of meditate in if you need to.
Yeah, totally. I'm gonna go to the pool. Does it look like a place I could dip my feet in, or does this look like?
Yeah, you can dip your feet in there. Yeah, it's a reflecting pool. It's perfectly clear.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna just take a deep breath. I'm kind of like away from everything that's kind of troubled me for the past couple of hours, and I just want to meditate.
Okay. Yeah, so you sit and you meditate for a little bit, and after about, it feels like roughly an hour. Whether or not it's actually an hour or not doesn't really matter. It feels like it's roughly an hour. You hear someone dip their feet in next to you.
Ah!
And you turn, and it's a young drow woman. Young as in like just entering into like adulthood in age. So maybe like 18 to 20 or so. And she just like dips her feet in, and she like sort of like looks at you and like sort of flashes a smile and like kind of stares straight ahead. And you both just sort of sit there like next to each other, sharing a silence for a little while. And then eventually she sort of like, and like every now and then she like sort of catches, like you sort of catch a sideways glance in your direction. And then eventually the woman is going to go, you look like you're someone who's always running away from something. I don't know if anybody's ever told you that. I don't know. You have that sort of air about you.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. And is it that easy to spot?
Something in the way you hold yourself, I guess. But there was a moment, I hope you don't mind, I watched a little bit while you were meditating. This is sort of the place that I go in order to relax, and I was surprised to find someone else here, quite frankly, and I figured I would scope things out before I came up, especially since you're an upworlder,
I mean, well, if I'm bugging you, I can leave.
No.
It's not a...
By all means. As far as I'm concerned, we're all outsiders here.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say is, it's silly, but there was a moment where you were meditating where, I don't know, I felt like something changed with you, that something in your posture, the way that you held yourself, the way that you breathed. You stopped being somebody who was always running and started being somebody who was ready to stand and fight. That may just be me, though. I don't know.
I hope you're right. It's time I started acting like that.
My name is Stella, by the way.
Oh, sorry. My name's Dorvis. He goes out to shake a hand, but he's like not sure if you shake hands or if
she takes your hand and gives it a light shake.
Okay.
And
cool.
she says, I always like it here because back there's all this hustle and bustle just trying to survive, and people lose track of what's really nice, which is that even if we only have a little bit to live, sometimes it's small moments that make that little bit of time worth it,
Yeah. No, yeah, I totally get what you mean.
What are you running
I
from,
some
Dorvis?
what am I running from? A lot of things. Be hard for me to list them all at one time. Let's just say I did something bad, and I wish I could have changed it, but I just I I got so scared I just started running, and I guess that's the only thing I know how to do now is run.
You know, back there, over half the people were former murderers and crooks, robbers and arsonists. They've done everything under the sun. I bet you couldn't top half of the stuff that they've done and the people that they've hurt, and yet here we are, and we're all living together, and I don't see any of us complaining.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Um,
It's kind of nice right here.
yeah, it is, isn't it? And you guys sit in silence again for a few more minutes before she retreats her feet and she says, "Well, Dorvis, I hope you find the strength to confront what it is that you're running from, and I look forward to seeing the day where you stand strong against it and you discover that sometimes running is, well, more of a waste of energy than standing to fight." And she sort of giggles and like walks off. And then,
And before,
yeah,
wait, yeah, no, what were you gonna say?
no, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, he just said to me, I was like, wait. So he just goes ahead and gets out and goes over to her. Uh, you sound like you used to run from something. Uh, could just be nothing, but I mean, am I wrong? Or
Dorvis, everybody has something to run from. But sometimes people just. Sometimes you discover that you're just not very good at running. And then she's gonna turn, walk off.
see you later.
Um,
Stupid.
uh, do you return to the reflecting pool?
Yeah, he goes to return to the reflecting pool.
You sit and you try to meditate again, but you keep finding intrusive thoughts sort of entering into your mind as you go to meditate that stop you from being able to like find that moment of zen that you were able to find before. And
Yeah.
just briefly, whenever you open your eyes before you leave, you swear that you see red eyes staring back at you from the pool. But you blink and they're gone.
Okay, that's my cue. I think it's the time I get it. I go walk back to the to town.
All right, Ken, what do you do?
All right. Ken's gonna just kind of walk around and observe, um, just just the condition here. He's heard of other humanoids being able to live underground and not being in such, I'll say such such scarcity and being so sickly. So he's gonna um he's gonna cast ritual, detect poison and disease,
Okay.
and it pulling out a yew leaf, and just kind of sitting there for a few seconds, swirling his hands around and speaking um, words that he doesn't even know the meaning of, um, and a 30-foot, feeling if there's any like poison or
Mm-hmm.
disease that's affecting the residents here.
Yeah. So here's what you like. Um, I haven't actually talked about the way that magic works in this setting. So this is what I'll say. Like, imagine that all magic worked on a circuit board, right? Like everything was circuitry. In the body, there's magical circuitry that some people have, some people don't. Some people it's more defined, better pathways, and some people it's just raw and like sparking off of them, right? And even the planet itself has this magic circuitry running through it, and that's what ley lines are, right? Ley lines are the like the resistors and the capacitors that sort of draw this energy into them. Um, so things like detect magic or detect poison and disease, those things tap into the magical circuitry to sort of basically send out a pulse to see where everything is flowing to and from, right?
Yeah.
So you sort of send out this pulse from you like a sonar, and you get immediately the feedback that returns to you of every single person pings with the same. You can't identify exactly what it is that's afflicting them, but something is afflicting them all across the board. And as the pulse comes back in, you see that like blips appear on every person, and it sends a signal to the same place, a rather large building towards the center of the refuse that is sort of appearing to be channeling through this disease and poison from everyone.
Okay. Um, um, yeah, I'm just gonna kind of, just gonna be walking through. If it takes me more than the 10 minutes, to kind of just double check, I'll cast it a second time, but I'm kind of just gonna
No,
double
you
check to
you
make
should be
sure
able to
that
get there
this,
in 10 minutes.
okay, I just want to kind of just make sure that this is, the strongest source, because it says, yeah, identify kind, yeah, all right.
Yeah, without a doubt, this is
Yeah, it says
this is this.
location of poison, poisonous creatures, and disease within 30 feet of you.
Yeah, this is definitely it. Is
Okay,
absolutely where it's coming from, or
okay,
something. It definitely is associated with whatever's ailing these people in some way.
okay. Um, just quick question. It also says I would also identify the kind of poison or disease. Would that work with this thing or not?
Um, I'm going to house rule that is if you understand what, like, if you knew what cyanide was, you would identify that this is cyanide poisoning. But
Okay,
because you simply know that this has something to do with it, but because you don't know what the disease is, you can only identify the association, not necessarily the cause.
okay, yeah, yeah. No, I figured it'd probably be something like that. I was just double checking. All right, yeah. That's really all I'm gonna do, and I'm just gonna kind of really just continue around and um yeah, that's really all I'm gonna do.
All right. So you sort of find this building. You don't take a look inside or anything. People are looking at
Yeah.
you as you approach the building. Do you do anything else, or do you head back
I
to?
I, I just kind of want to see if I can figure out, as I'm kind of go up close and kind of just make sure that's where it's coming from. I kind of want to just make like a perception check to see if I can figure out exactly what this building has to do, like what it's doing for the city, or what
Yeah.
kind of.
Go ahead and roll perception.
All right, that's a 10.
Okay. Here's what I'll say that you see. You don't. The buildings all sort of look uniform, so you don't notice any like special signifier about this one, other than here's what you notice. People walk into the building and people walk out. The same people walk in that walk out, right? But there is a difference whenever they walk out from whenever they walk in. People walk in hunched over, coughing. People walk in sickly, with pale eyes. And whenever they walk out, they're standing up straighter. Their breathing is normalized, and their eyes are glowing red.
Okay. All right, and that's all I'm gonna do. I'm gonna, I guess, meet up where he first left us off at
Yeah,
to
back at
meet up with
Johann's.
us. Yeah.
All right. So everyone sort of finds a way back to Johann's at different times, but you all sort of settle down, and Johann sits you all down at a stone table, a sort of natural formation in this cave that the house was sort of built around in order to serve multiple people at once. But today, Johann has commanded everyone out of the building except for his guests, and he sort of sits you down, gives you all a sort of very water heavy soup, like a very like this. It's more water than soup, but there is still some sort of stock in it. A couple of like vegetables and mosses and mushrooms that are sort of thrown in there as well as a couple of unidentifiable hunks of meat. It is very meager food, but it will keep you over, at least for the night.
Ken's gonna chow down.
I'm gonna chow down without talking because I'm afraid of whatever word I say is gonna be bad. This is.
I realize the room is dead quiet and just chowing. I'm going to chow down being dead quiet as well because I don't want to break that tension.
Yeah.
I'll say thank you though. I will say thank you.
And Johan's going to nod towards you, and he's going to say, "If you want to appear as though you are a part of this culture, saying thank you will suffice. But this," and he's going to put his hand over his chest and repeat back the gesture that the children and the mother did towards you, "will be a much more powerful message."
I do it.
I do it.
And this sort of like seems to please him. But you've noticed that he hasn't touched his food yet, though he has a bowl in front of him.
I think about that for a second, and I want to roll. That would be investigation, right? Just to see if.
See if you can put the pieces together.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because I'm. Dorvis kind of went. Normally, Dorvis wouldn't necessarily have eaten with, but everyone else ate, so he kind of went with it. But I just want to. That is a 9.
Yeah. You like think about it, but it's like, maybe he's just not hungry. Maybe he has something on his mind. You know, he's not, because it doesn't seem as though he's like against eating. He's just not. You know.
Okay.
I'm kind of upset after what Kentorla just saw that he just decided to eat, but I already said that he decided.
Yeah.
Kentorla just must be really he's just a hungry boy, you know.
Yeah, he's
Just
a,
like
he's a
we
growing
learned-
dragonborn. You know.
He's a growing dragonborn, you know, like
Without a
like
tail
just
though,
like
so I mean.
Yeah.
So we're gonna interview possibly. Yeah.
but I guess as we decided, like stomach might be his weakness, I guess. So I guess he's just eating.
All right. Well, we all ate the food. So hopefully don't mean anything bad.
So you guys all sort of eat, and after some point, Johan's just gonna sigh and look at everybody and say, "Your presence here has upset many people. Many people that I would prefer to be still on my side. For some, you have sparked a sense of hope that maybe this is our chance to return to the outer worlds. For some, you are a bad omen, dictating our fall from the meager civilization we have had. I do not hold any of this against you, but I hope you understand that this weighs very heavily on my mind, as well as many of our citizens."
Well, of course. I mean, is there anything we can do to ease your mind?
I want you to tell me everything. How did you end up together? How did you end up here? And why on earth is he interested in you?
Well, I take out the podcast, you know, and I start playing from episode 0 to 0.5, and like and we sit down, have a couple of laughs, you know, sing around from the pyramids at large. I know the joke I had to go for. I'm sorry.
No.
You ever heard of the Final Rule podcast? We can. It's
Somewhere in an alternate universe.
Out on Twitch, Spotify.
It's Spotify. You've heard
what's
those,
Twitch and
right?
Spotify? What do you?
Well, so who's
on Grendelgram on.
I hate Grindelgram. Um,
Yeah.
so, do you guys like who wants to take the reins on explaining what's happened so far?
Uh,
Uh,
Walter, you
let's-
go for it.
Let's just start.
Yeah,
So,
and we'll
we usually
go-
have another person in our group here. I don't know. Do you still have the beetle?
this
Yeah.
is broke.
We think. Well, no, the spell only lasts for an hour too. So I don't, unless he casts it on himself again. How long have you?
I think he just twitched.
Maybe he's
No.
just a really good druid, guys. I mean,
No,
I mean,
no,
he could have.
didn't.
Okay, all right. Just hold on to him anyway. So we all pretty much met. Actually, it's interesting because we end up so three of us, not including Ken, have met on an expedition that we were not all for like consenting to be a part of, but we ended up being a part of it.
I don't think he wants like detailed like.
Well, but
I
like,
can give him like
but
a quick.
like the cliff notes.
the cliff
Yeah,
notes.
Yeah,
Well,
cliff notes.
Well, our first competition with that guy came when we were captured inside of a pyramid. He showed up, made us perform, and we got out of there. We haven't really seen him again until we came here to
I
Causeway.
mean, you did also steal his cape.
I took because
I
it was a
think
good cape. I had to take all I had. Like
Kind of what really
I
pissed
didn't
him
own a
off.
shirt.
Yeah, I would
owned
admit
a
that.
bed sheet.
This might actually all be your fault, Walter.
He also hold on. He
Just
also
saying,
looked
you did
like-
steal the cape, and I
he-
think
he looked wicked cool in that outfit. And like I was a fool a
I mean,
while ago.
I was
learned a
pretty
lot.
high when he confronted us next.
Yeah,
I'm
that
pretty
was
sure
next time we
the
met that
main
guy.
thing he was talking about was that cape.
Yeah, we
I
were
gave it
all
back.
on spice. It was. Whew.
Well, I for a bit I was, but then I stopped being on Spice. He. Sorry, I was thinking about Craig.
Oh,
Sorry, I was thinking about Craig.
I salute thee, Craig.
Yeah, I was going to mention the flying island we were on that was built by Gira. Allegedly, because the woman.
I mean, that part wasn't
said it
necessary.
I know it wasn't, but it's part of what motivates me to go after that
That's
guy.
what angers me, because things pointed to that she was Gira, and then I asked, "Do you follow Gira?" And she's like, "You
she's
still."
Gira? Is that what this whole thing was?
I
I'm
mean,
pretty sure.
I'm
she's
pretty
Gira.
sure she's Gira.
You're kidding.
She was literally on
Yeah, it-
controlling an floating island, and things that was making the island float said
It kind of
"Take
added up.
Gira," and then she just made it all work again.
It worked a little too well. I think the
Yeah.
story just kind of
I'm
pointed
pretty sure
right
she's
at her.
Gira.
I'm sorry.
I'm still mad at
I just
Gira
assumed that she was a tiefling and therefore stole the island. I don't know.
But any guys, we're getting off track. All right. So anyways, we came to Causeway, and well, Walter, we kind of got all jumbled up. I ran into Torek, which who you may or may not know, I'm sure. And
associate of the new
paint,
fast.
blood, all that jazz. Yeah. Anyways, I thought he was a friend of mine. Turns out he was a murderer. So
not a friend of anybody except for that guy.
So anyways, long story short, our super producer friend decided to get his cape back, and
he got his cape back.
He got his cape back and killed a lot of people in the process.
Yeah.
And we decided to come down here because we needed to avenge those people. And one thing led to another. And
I apologize for intruding on your new life. I didn't know that there was any changes to the dank from when I had last been here.
A lot has changed, young. Last you and I were able to grace each other's presences. I do not blame any of you for being here. I understand that we do share a common enemy, and you said he's calling himself a super producer nowadays?
Yeah, it's kind of a pun.
That's the term.
Back when I knew him, I just called him a lich.
I
That's what
I
he
knew it.
is.
I knew it.
Oh, that's what he is, guys. He's
Walter,
a witch, guys.
I literally said he was a lich, and you just said that was wrong.
I thought you said witch. I was like, they can't be a witch. He's a guy.
Well,
That's
okay,
not-
that makes.
It's an inherently like there's warlock, but witches. I feel like witch has some kind of weight. All right. Yeah, okay, that makes
But
sense.
it is very clear that you all don't know exactly what's happening in the land of Grendel.
Nope, not at all.
I mean, I've kind of just been dealing with small business
Is there
matters.
something going rotten? Something rotten?
Allow me to. Let's just say it would be wrong of me as a host to not explain to you how the refuse came to be, how I ended up here, and exactly what's going on with the world above, such that it's not that we remain down here because there's no way out into the surface world, because the misery and pain we suffer down here will be nothing compared what's going to happen up there. You see, actually, not too long ago, I used to be quite high up in the ranks of. We called ourselves the Lords of the Dank. Ken, I'm sure you remember us fondly whenever we brought you into the chambers.
Yes, I wasn't able to meet the main council, but you were among the lower members. No offense.
Council
but,
of Dank, I've
the
heard.
lower members of the the
Council of Dank.
lords.
You see, that was before they showed up. I knew of Swift even before he became what he is today. Back whenever he was simply a entertainment and money hungry person. And he ran with a certain group of people, had this twisted view on the world, that which was not beautiful, that which was not what they called art. You see, that was just unacceptable in the mind of Swift, and in the mind of Toric, and in the mind of Sistora, and in the mind of Delilah. All of them viewed a world where there was no pain, there was nothing that they could call ugly, there was simply the beauty that they found in their art. But they are twisted people. Twisted by magics that you cannot comprehend. Not just Swift, not just Toric, all of them. They found something that turned them into the beings that they are today. And within a matter of weeks, Council of Dank were hunted down like dogs. The new Dank was formed, Causeway was taken over, Grendel was taken over by these artists who believed that the world was an ugly place that needed to be beautiful.
God, artists are the worst.
Couldn't it couldn't have been like a violent or hostile attack, because haven't heard anything of it, and I've been living in and in the area of Causeway my entire life.
That's the most insidious part about what they did.
Grassroots campaigning. Petitions.
There's something about Swift. There's something about that evil son of a bitch that makes people not want to say the things that he does, not want to dare utter the evil that he is capable of. They took over the Dank. They took over everything, and nobody even raised a finger. And if they did, just like that, they were gone the next day. So I advise you, when you leave this place, hide. No one in Grindel is safe. No one in Grindel is on your side. Because even if they say they are, and even if they believe in their truest hearts that they are your friends and allies, the moment that he walks in the door, you will never know what they're capable of.
So you're saying I should just keep running?
I'm saying running is the only thing any of us can do anymore. I'm sure you've seen it for yourself. Entire neighborhoods, households, people in power, people not in power, wiped out in an instant the moment he walks in the door, and the guards just walk in and pick up the bodies like nothing ever happened. All of them the same. Souls gone, blood gone, life force gone. Like that. Now tell me, what on earth are you supposed to do against people who can end entire family trees like that in an instant? Are you going to stand and fight against something that is insurmountable?
Yes.
Uh, uh, That's a good
Yes.
question. I mean,
I mean, is
I couldn't sit right with myself if I didn't do something to stop that evil beat, whatever the fuck it is, from continuing its
Then you
thing.
are a fool. That is all there is to say about that. And then uh, another voice is going to pop in at this point. Somebody who's been listening in from the other side of a door. The door opens, and standing in the doorway is Stella. She looks at Johann. She just simply says, "And that father is why you are a fool."
I do a double take. What?
I'm sorry, I can't listen to you just prattle on like this over and over with your defeatist talk and this attitude like we're never going to get out there, like we're never going to reclaim what is rightfully ours on the surface. That's not what we're about. That's not why we keep living. That's not why we keep fighting. We are not here to hide. We are here to discover what we need to do in order to get back to the surface and to live our lives again and to destroy the evil that has sought its way insidiously into the roots of this world. Grindel is ours. And if you don't see that, you're a bigger fool than any of the men I see standing in here today. And Yorick's going to look at everyone in the room and just march up the stairs, and you hear a door slam, leaving you three alone with Stella in a room.
Oh.
I
Hey, Stella.
Thank you.
You must be Johann's daughter.
Yes, and I'm sorry that you had to listen to an old man's view of how narrow the future can be.
It's all right. I've already seen.
He
That's
kind of
kind
just.
how where he's. That's how he's thinking.
I
From
can
the
understand why he's saying that, because I can see that it's been through a lot. You all have been through a lot. This whole civilization that's been formed here has been through a lot.
We
But
have, and
there's still the small bits and the hopeful bits, and the things that keep us going slightly. And I don't know. There's potential for much better than there is right here. And I'm not. I want to give up and let it just continue like it is.
I'll tell you what. My father gave you 3 days here, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Stay here. And before your third day, I'm going to show you something that I think you really want to see here in the refuse. That my father would never dare to even dream existed here.
Does what you want to show us have anything to do with the Sinnermost building of this civilization.
What do you know of that building?
It just seems to be a sickness that surrounds it.
No, I'm afraid you're mistaken there, Mr. Kentorla. There's not sickness there. That's our cure.
Cure for
I
what?
When we came down here, we found ourselves attacked by a savage sickness, and well, there was only one way to avoid that sickness. We made a deal with something down here. We drank from its blood, and it revives us, allows us to continue on, whereas otherwise the sickness would have consumed us all long, long ago.
Wait, you
I
made a deal?
I don't know anything other than that. That's what any of us will be able to tell you. My father was the one that got us out of this mess. That's why he's the leader, the hero down here. I don't know anything else. I just know that look, that's not what I have to show you. No, what I have to show you is the hope that you're speaking of and the strength that I think you seek to find. I can promise you, not everyone down here thinks like my father does. But I'm afraid I must retire for the night, and I hope that you do stick around for at least another day.
We will.
We
Thank,
will.
Count me in.
thank you all. I will be sure to get to you well, as soon as I can. And then she exits out of the room, also heads upstairs and leaves you three alone in sort of the dining room of this building.
Oh, dang it! I forgot to do the hand thing. Whatever. That was a lot to process. Uh,
Yeah, I'm gonna. Do we want to talk about that as like a group?
I mean, sure. I mean,
I mean, like, we don't. Brooke, do you want to say anything? Yeah, he's so quiet. All right.
I think he's still sleeping. I hope he's sleeping.
Yeah, I mean, he did
Are you-
didn't he eat a lot at the inn we were at yesterday? Like he ate a lot.
Did.
He ate a lot. I
Yeah,
think
I
that's
mean, he
that's a
tried to eat off my plate, but I mean,
yeah.
I think he ate off Dorvis's plate a little bit.
None of
And
that crazy guy.
I don't think you were watching Dorvis, but
but
you were talking about how you were still hungry afterwards. That's because
oh,
Brooke
I
ate.
think Brooke ate a lot of it.
Yeah.
I was wondering why the portions were so kind of small.
That's a power nap he's in right now. Okay, well,
Well, guys, looks like a lot of things are going on down here.
Dorvis, is she spoke of a deal. Is there anything that you can tell us about these deals? I mean,
I mean, all I know is that if they made a deal, they gave there was a catch. They gave up something. I mean, they you don't make deals with. I mean, if I know what they made a deal with, then you don't make those deals without giving up something first or later.
well,
I wonder what they gave up,
let's
and then I also wonder what could give them hope, even with
let's
having something given up.
let's go. Have we been shown like our basically our living quarters?
Yeah, you all three are on like meager straw mattresses, like moss mattresses, sort of
Are
in yeah, like you guys
are
are all in the
are,
same room.
are they? Is it like just a room like a bit secluded, or is it like just in the middle of like a living area?
It's a bit secluded. Like you guys can
Okay.
sort of have a chat in there without too much worry.
Okay. I want to just lead everyone up to our room before speaking of these things. The So lead everyone up. Fast forward.
Yeah.
All right. So while we were a bit apart, I did a bit of digging, noticing that everyone was a bit sickly, more sickly than it. It's just odd because there are many. I've heard of many races of I've just heard of many races going into the Underdark and becoming even stronger in the Underdark than the predecessors. They're less evolved, because the 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 Underdank or Underdark, whatever we want to call it, is s- so intense that beings just become stronger because of the environment that they're living in. And it made me curious about how living down here for several years they're weak. So I sort of put my feelers out for diseases or poisons or something that might be affecting them, and that center building that she's speaking of, that they go in, drink the blood, that that subsides the disease. After they do that, they come out looking, you know, less sickly, but as in as if something has a strong grasp on them. Like their eyes are red in tint, and they seem just this this sense in their eyes that they have a mission, and that the determination, and just honestly the lack of empathy, emotion, um, that's just just coming out almost inhuman. And I
Are you saying you want to investigate it?
I I'd like, yes, I just an s-
Well, should we check it out right now while everyone's asleep, or should we
no,
do that in the morning?
no, I mean we can do that in the next few days. Keep our eyes out, maybe, I don't
Few
know.
few days? You mean like tomorrow? We only have 2 more days
2
here.
more days, yeah, tomorrow or the day where we learn whatever thing it is that keeps them hopeful.
Yes, three. Yes. Anyways,
I
doesn't
know, time
matter.
is
It
weird
doesn't.
down here. It's a,
I next in a little bit. I don't
yeah, I
know,
can forgive you. I can pat
but
the shoulder.
I
It's
don't know.
okay, man. I know, it's weird.
I
Where's
mean,
the
we could.
sun? All right?
Yeah, it's pretty
Maybe
dark here.
maybe see if there's some way we could get in there and just see what it is they made a deal with, and
Yeah, I'd like to know too.
I,
All right.
All right, we'll
Great.
but
See
get
you in the morning.
ourselves. See you in the morning. Let's get some rest. I think we all deserve it.
yeah.
All right.
Like,
So we're gonna fast forward. You guys can continue to do things. We'll talk about it later about what you do for the next day. But we're gonna
Long
fast
rest.
forward
Hang
to
on.
long rest. It happens. You get your spell slots back. All that fun stuff.
Ooh.
Um,
oh boy. Oh, I
so
can. I
Three,
want to
two,
change my
one.
spells.
Long rest. There we go. Oh, it didn't
I feel
automatically
great.
give back my spell slots.
I feel great,
That
guys.
myself.
Okay.
all right. So we're gonna fast forward to Stella coming to grab all of you to bring you to um the secret thing that she was talking about. This is going to be towards the end of the second day. Um, I'll say that you guys haven't really had a chance to investigate.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, where you guys have, but she's we're just gonna make this easier on all of us and say that she's bringing you to that building, so you'll find out one way or another what's in there. And she's going to like basically whisper basically throw a couple cantrips on you to like shroud you all in the cloaks that everyone seems to be wearing. And she's basically be like, keep your heads down and don't make any sudden moves that are going to betray who you are. You have to seem like just any of the rest of us who are coming in here. Outsiders are not allowed in. Understood?
Just gonna
Understood.
nod my head.
All right.
I nod my head.
Come on in. And then she's gonna like open the door very slowly and like basically whenever she walks in, she does a series of complicated gestures over herself. And then one of the figures in the a figure that's in the back does gestures back. Basically, you can guess it's sort of like the equivalent of if a tree falls in the forest, does it actually exist? That was the code thing, right? Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
It's a
And she sort of like ushers you all in and closes and locks the door behind you. And it takes a while for your eyes to all adjust. And Walter, you might need to ask somebody to throw some fairy fire or something in here because it is pitch black.
I could light it. No, I shouldn't light I shouldn't light a torch. Hey, who else got some magic stuff to help me see good?
I feel like bringing attention to us may not be the best thing. I mean, we'll recap you afterwards.
All right, yeah, I'll just keep
Just play
blind.
cool, Walter.
Just grab.
You bet.
Here,
Let me hold on to your hand.
grab onto my hand. Just grab onto my hand.
Yeah, I got your hand. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So
hey, there I am. There I am.
Sort of leads you in, and there's like a little bit of like a stone like basin in sort of the center. Once again, like sort of naturally hewn out. Looks like water dripped onto like a stalagmite, stalactite. Whichever one's from the floor.
Tight or on top.
Yeah,
because
so
they have
might-
to hold on tight.
There you go.
Yeah.
So a stalagmite sort of carved it out into like a little bit of a bowl. And there are, we'll say, 9 cloaked figures in the room, not including Stella. And she's gonna look at you and say, "So you wanted to know about what it is that keeps us going, why we have hope. Well, this is it." And she's gonna like sort of like motion upwards, and for the two of you that can see, you look up and you see, like, you look up and you look back down, and whenever you look back down, you realize that you don't remember what you saw whenever you looked up, so you look up again, and then whenever you look back down, you're like, oh man, like it's just slightly slipping out of your mind, whatever it is that you're looking at. And she's like, stop, it's okay, we don't remember either, but whatever it is that's up there, it gives us the vitality we need to continue and to survive this disease that the Underdank has given us. And she goes, and it does it like this. And one of the figures walks up with like a giant pole arm and basically just like slices, and you all hear something, and then like, you know, whenever you like recognize that you heard something, it's gone, and you're like, oh, what was that? I wonder what that was that I heard. Like, and then liquid just sloshes into the bowl, and everyone that's in the room drinks from the liquid, and immediately it's almost like they grow like a half a foot taller, and they stand with their, you know, shoulders back and their chest out, and their eyes are all glowing red. And even Stella, whenever she drinks from it, just grows like so much immensely more powerful. And she looks at all of you and she says, "This is our hope. For the next 3 or 4 days, we grow so much stronger, but we must return to feed. So this is what I wanted to show you, because I'm giving us a time limit. If you really feel the way you do about what's going on up there, we have to fight. The 10 of us can do things that you wouldn't imagine while we're in this state. We have 4 days. Let's go kill Swift Johansson." And that's where we're going to end things for today.
Oh my lord.
So, so that's going to be it for right now. Thank you to everybody who watched. We really appreciate it. Thank you for everybody who's listens on the podcast or who's watching on the VOD on Twitch. We really appreciate it. As always, this episode will go live next Sunday at 5. If you want to listen to the podcast version of it, which will be slightly edited and maybe sound a bit better, hopefully, you can find that on any podcasting platform. If you're curious about anything, you have any suggestions as to how things work or what we can do better, if you look below this video, there will be a suggestion box on Twitch. You're more than welcome to type in a suggestion as to how we can improve things. I do look at those, I read them, I take them into consideration. But we don't know what to change unless you let us know. And also, sorry for everyone who's watching. Twitch for the last couple of days has been having some connectivity issues on their end, on the server end of things. A lot of people that I watch on here, their streams drop in and out. So I think some of that was happening today. But hopefully the VOD is going to be all right. The podcast should be all right because it's being recorded on separate software. And the YouTube video that goes up on the Gifties Productions YouTube channel should be fine as well. But thank you so much for listening. Let's go ahead and sign off. Once again, I was your Dungeon Master, Glenn Underwood, also known as Maytag. You can find me at May_tag official on Twitter. Go ahead, Chase.
Hi, I'm Chase Bernard. I played Dorvis. You can find me at Cut to the Chase on Twitch or at Cut to the Chase 9 on Twitter.
All right, thank you very much, Chase. Hey, Justin.
All right, I'm Justin. I was playing Kintorla, and you can find me on Twitter at DDice Gaming or on Twitch, Drinks and Dice Gaming.
Thank you, Justin. Vincent, sign us off.
Hi, I'm Vincent. Today I played the role of Walter Tang. You can find me on Instagram, and only really Instagram, at I'm a theater major because I'm a theater major.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you again for everybody who is listening. Let us know what we can change on Twitter and the suggestion box, anything like that. Let us know how we can improve. Otherwise, follow us on Spotify, Apple, iTunes, anything that you can find podcasts on. We're there, I promise. And if we're not, let us know so we can be there. Thank you all so much. Hey, everyone, say goodbye.
Bye, guys.
See ya.